Hello everyone, today I'm going to be doing a 212cc swap on this 105cc mototec. I'm in Canada, so I got this 212 from Princess Auto, which is our Harbor Freights, and it's powerfist, which is, I believe, very similar to the Tillotson 212. So far I've taken off the chain guard, really simple, a couple screws here and there, and then I undid the chain, and the chain links are in there. And this is my first time doing something like this, so bear with me, guys. The only thing I've done so far on this is the governor bypass, and I put a 65 tooth sprocket instead of the stock 75 tooth for some more top end. After that, here, look on the other side. After that, I took apart the throttle cable. There's something holding it in right there. Took that out, and this was going through here. Also undid that, came right out. And I also just undid this on-off switch, which was in here. Put the bolt back in case I don't need it. I'm not sure. And also just unplugged this one from here. And now should be ready to take out. It's gonna be 1, 2, and then on the other side as well, 3 and 4. Okay, so I undid all of the bolts. Now it's loose, so I'm gonna take it out. Boom, came out super easily. This thing's tiny, man. I don't know if it's gonna fit. We might have to modify the airbox or the exhaust. So I was planning on putting an aftermarket exhaust anyway, or header, I guess, with a silencer. So we'll see about that. If anything, we could take off this muffler guard and burn ourselves when riding. And we could take off the filter box as well. If it doesn't fit, that's worst case. But I'd rather not do that. So I'm gonna quickly just give this a clean. Okay, so nothing too crazy, just a quick wipe down. I will clean this whole bike in the next few days, but just wanted to see if I could do an engine swap and if it even fits. So I'm gonna try and fit it in this frame now. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Okay, so as you guys can see, kind of fits, but not really, because that is not on there. And right now, these aren't quite hitting. It is actually this that's hitting against this. So what I'm gonna try and do is, I do wanna keep this for when I ride in mud and dirt and stuff. If I have to remove it, I will, and find another solution. But for now, I'm gonna try and move this screw back to here to move it back. I'm not sure if it's gonna rub the tire or not, but we'll see. And even after I do that, I'm pretty sure it still won't fit because of these. So then I'll take these off and see if it fits then. And if, I think it will. But yeah, let's see. Okay, so I took these off. And my plan of moving this screw back to here did not work, not even close actually. So the next thing is I was thinking of just using this screw and the same one on the other side. And this way I can angle it closer like this to create more space down there. But that's a secondary problem right now. So this is loose here, there's space for that. But now, as expected, these don't fit. So I will take that off now and see if it fits once I take the muffler and the airbox off. Okay, so I took the muffler guard off for 8mm bolts, 2 up here, 2 in the back. And it is almost there, but not quite. So we're either going to have to dent the muffler, which I don't really want to do. First, let me take off the airbox because that's also hitting. So I'll take that off and then see what the situation with this is. If it's just a little bit more that I need to take out, then I might just dent it so it fits for now, since I'm going to replace it anyway. I don't really care. I'm more concerned about the air filter, which I would have liked to keep, but I guess I'll have to replace that as well. But yeah, as you can see, we're almost there. Actually, It looks like it might even fit. It might just be that bolt there. But yeah, let's see once this air filter comes off. Okay, good news. So fits in there nice and snug. We could actually move it up a little bit more. And we could, what I saw someone else do was actually shave down this bolt to about half its size, as you know, it won't be used anyway. It's a drain plug, but there's one on the other side as well. So good news, the muffler does fit without the guard, barely, but it does fit. And the air filter, I had to take off the cover, and it fits now as well. But obviously we're going to want the cover. So what I'm planning on doing is I might just cut the corner so the corner fits, because that's just the part that doesn't fit. I'm gonna put on the clutch to see. I've seen people have to put it on reverse, so I'll do that just to see, you know, where I have to put the engine. So I have to put it farther this way. I might have to change the muffler, because as you see, it's this part here that doesn't fit. So yeah, I'm gonna put on the clutch and quickly see how the chain's looking like. And also, more good news is that I think I will be able to keep this on with both screws. Actually, it's just gonna have a bit of pressure on it. Like, I'm gonna have to bend it a little bit, and it's gonna be hitting this. So I'll see if there's any weird vibrations or if it's melting it or not. I doubt it, but I think that's gonna be able to stay on as well, which is good news. But first I'm gonna put on the clutch and see around how far in I have to put it. All right, so ran into a quick little problem. Not really a problem, but as you can see, trying to get this out, it just turns the whole thing. And didn't come, oh, it does now, but it wouldn't earlier. It just turned this whole thing. So what I did was take that off. It was just 3 more 8mm. And then I put this wrench, in through here like that. Oh, other side. In through here like this to the other side, and then held it for a little bit while turning this, and that loosened it up while, you know, that would stay still, and then just the bolt would turn. And I did that for a bit, and as you can see, it came loose. So that's how I did that. So this is a 3/4 inch clutch, number 35 chain, and it is a 12 tooth. So as you can see, this has a keyway on this side, but it only goes halfway in, and there's no other keyhole or anything. And we need to put this in this way, backwards actually, or else if the teeth are on this side, it won't align properly to the rear sprocket. So putting it in this way, as I mentioned before, the keyway, let's see, we line it up, still, so this keyway goes all the way, but this one only goes halfway. So I can't put the key in here, then slide it on. And I also can't put it on like this and slide it in, because then it just sticks out halfway, because it only goes in halfway. So I'm not even sure if I was supposed to use this one or not, but the clutch came with this little guy who fits perfectly in here, just like that. It goes in perfectly. I'm not sure how far in he's supposed to go, but he works. So if we were to put this back on, this would keep him in there like that. So it would keep him in there, so that should work like that. I'm gonna put it on and then try seeing approximately where the engine should be. Okay, so I got the clutch on. Nice, this is nice and tight, but as you can see, lots of wiggle room, which we don't want. So I found this washer. I did the same thing on the old engine. Took apart the clutch, took this off so I could put the wrench through it, held it tight. Took apart the clutch and found this, except I'm pretty sure this is 5/8 inch washer, I guess if you call this, and that is a 3/4 inch, so don't think it'll work. So I'm gonna have to find another solution, or else I'll have to just run it with this much play. I don't believe there's a way to adjust it. I'm gonna see what I can do and update you guys. So I took this off the old clutch, and it does fit on this 5/8 here. It's not a tight fit, there's a little bit of wiggle room, but it does go snug up against there. And I'm gonna tighten this on now and see how much play there is. By the looks of it, there's gonna be less. This was sticking out more before, like the middle part, and this whole thing was more inwards like this. So I do suspect there's gonna be a tiny bit of play, but that should be fine. Alright guys, I put those two tiny little washers on over there, and it is much better. I don't know if you remember how bad it was earlier. There's just that much. And I had, sorry about that, I had checked on the old clutch, and there was around that much play as well. What I'm not so sure about is not this inside, but this outside shell has a decent amount of play. I'm wondering if that's normal or not. So if you guys know, feel free to let me know in the comments. But I'm gonna leave it for now. Seems like it's gonna work. But yeah, so next thing is aligning the chain with the clutch and the motor to see if we can, you know, somehow leave the airbox on, or just chop the corner off until I get an aftermarket intake. So yeah, I'll play around with that for a bit and then let you guys know. Alright guys, so I flipped the motor, and I took this drain plug out here, and I shortened it a little bit with a grinder, about maybe half. I don't know if it's quite half. I could have done a little bit more, but I think it should be fine like this. I'm gonna put it back in and see how much more space we got from doing this. And then I'm going to align these holes to exactly where I want it to be, and then find a way to mark it. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I don't think a pen, like a marker, is gonna fit directly into there. So I'll have to find a way to mark it exactly. And yeah, so I'll let you guys know once I do that. Okay, so what I did was I put the motor on, and I made sure the clutch sprocket was straight with the rear sprocket and not too far in or out. And then I took a tiny little paintbrush and found some primer, I think, and I poked it through one of the holes. So that's where this top left hole is gonna be. And what I'm gonna do now is flip this upside down, or on its side, whatever, and measure each hole from the center of each hole to the other ones, and then just mark it here, instead of trying to mark all four, just because the other ones are hard to reach even with the paintbrush. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna mark all four, measure all four first, and then mark it on here with a little ruler, and then I'm going to drill each hole. All right, so what I did so far was mark all four holes, and then drill a pilot hole for each, and then drill another hole with a bigger drill. I'm not sure if the pilot hole was necessary, but I did it anyways, and they look pretty good. So now, moment of truth, we'll see if the engine fits on and goes through those holes. If not, we're pretty screwed. We could, there's a bit of room for error. The bolts are a bit smaller than the holes that are on the engine, so we could move around a little bit. And I could drill one size bigger hole actually, because the nuts on the bolt are thicker, are actually quite thick. So it would work either way. But obviously I'd rather it work like this. So let's see if it works. All right, so I got the motor nice and tight on here. It's not going anywhere. Luckily all the bolts fit right through underneath. You got 1, 2 down there, 3 and 4. There is more space, so I basically sanded this down for no reason, because that would have fit. So I guess I marked the holes a bit too far back, but that's what, like 2 or 3 millimeters, which honestly doesn't bother me. Muffler barely fitting on there, it's scratching it a little bit, don't really care, that's coming off soon anyway. And now air filter, not sure what I'm gonna do about that. Might just cut the box. Yeah, I might just cut the box, like the top of it or something. And then, yeah, I actually don't know yet. So we'll see. I don't really want to deal with getting a new air filter, because then I have to change the jet, and it's hard to get those parts in Canada. If anyone does know where I could get them from without having to order from the US, comment down below. But yeah, other than that, this is the same. Now, what am I gonna do now? Now I'm going to put the chain on and adjust the chain length. I do have a bit of chain left over from when I decreased the sprocket size. So yeah, time to do the chain now. All right guys, it's currently the next day. So I had a small little problem with the chain here. So the chain, if I took off a link, it was too short. If I added a link, it was too long, even with the pulley adjuster here. So what I ended up doing was, it was too late last night, so this morning picked up some half links, which I'm gonna try and use and get the chain set up. And then it should be all good to run. I'm gonna see what I can do about the air filter. I might just run it like this for now on the street, or somehow try and squeeze the box, the filter cover in there, even if it doesn't sit properly. What I'll probably end up doing is either getting an air filter or cutting the filter cover, and then so that it fits, and then somehow covering the hole that I cut open to make it fit. And as for the muffler, I'm gonna do a custom exhaust anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. Only thing is it's gonna get really hot, so if my leg touches that, won't be good. But yeah, so I'm gonna deal with the chain now, and I'll update you guys in a bit. All right guys, so I got the chain all figured out. There's a decent amount of slack. I'm not sure if that's too much or not, but I can always tighten it later. I could also always just take off a link or half a link, because if I run out of space with the pulley. So what I ended up doing was I put this is the half link here, this piece right there. Here, let me get give me a second. This piece right here, that one, it's the half link. And on the other side, as you can see, it comes with a little pin that I folded over so it's nice and tight in there. Shouldn't be going anywhere. And then right after that, I put the master link on, and that seems to have worked. They say about 3 fingers of slack. That looks about right. Out of focus. Looks about right, so I can always adjust it later. Next up is throttle cable, and some of these wires there, and then put some oil in it, and then we'll see if she runs. All right, so next thing I did was I took off the seat and the air filter, you just take out these two bolts and it slides right off. Next thing I'm gonna do is take out this throttle limiter screw. As you can see, it limits the throttle there. So once that screw's gone, we should get more. And I'm also going to bypass the governor, but I'm gonna do that a bit later. Probably not in the video. But to do that, I believe it is that's one of those springs. There's two springs. One is right there, as you can see. And there's the further one down there. I have to figure out which one it is. Another thing that kind of confuses me is right now there's no spring, so I'm not sure if I just have to loosen this up a little bit so this spring can work and, you know, pull it back. So I'm gonna try that, as well as take out this throttle limiting screw. All right, so the screw is gone. It was right there, took it out. Also loosened this bolt here, and now much better. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, so now I'm gonna attach the throttle and I'll show you guys how I did that in a second. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but this spring, so that hole that it's going in right there, I just drilled out myself. It was going in that one before, and the spring wasn't strong enough to make this go all the way back. So I drilled a hole a little farther away, and now this spring is under more tension, so it does go all the way back. And there was also this tiny little spring attached from in there, and it went to that hole, and it was also restricting the throttle from fully closing again. So I also took that screw out, and that spring out, and I'm gonna see how it runs, and if it runs fine, I'm just gonna leave it out. If it was something that I shouldn't have done, I'll just put it back on. But yeah, so took that screw out, the throttle limiting screw, drilled a small hole, moved that spring back a little bit so it was more tension, and took out the spring that was on this throttle cable, I guess. But yeah, now I'm going to, I also, throttle cable was going in through there, connecting there, and in there, and in here. So I took it out. Now I'm rerouting it. I'm thinking of putting it under the gas tank, and then through here into this, which then, you know, pulls it like this. I'm not sure if it would interfere with anything going on down there though with the throttle. So I also might put it on the gas tank just like this, even though that looks much worse. So I'm gonna try doing it just like this and see if it interferes with anything, including the airbox. So I'll probably might put the airbox back on and then see if it works like that. So I'm gonna play around with it a little bit, and then I'll show you guys what I ended up doing. Okay, so what I ended up doing was the throttle cable goes from here, and I brought it around the other side, wraps around here. I'm not too sure if it's gonna get too hot since it's touching or not. I could also just lift it up a little bit. That's on the gas tank. And then it goes through here, bends around, and right into here. Now another thing, let me just tighten this up a little bit more real quick. Give me a second. Okay, it's nice and tight. So goes through here, into here, tighten this up. And so what I ended up doing is I took out the spring that it came with for the throttle, since it, you know, it didn't satisfy me. It still didn't bring this back all the way. But now I took a spring off of my old 105cc's throttle, and I bent the ends and put it through there and into here, and made my own throttle cable. Now it goes all the way back nicely and closes the throttle fully. Much better. It is pretty hard to twist the throttle, but that's fine. So next step is putting some stuff back together, air filter, this cover, and then see what we're gonna do about the filter and fill up some oil and then see if it works, finally. Forgot to mention that I also ended up putting this spring back because I feel like it was supposed to be there because the throttle was not closing fully whatsoever once I put the throttle cable in it. So I'm not sure if it actually is useful or not, but I'm leaving it there just for now. And yeah. All right, so we got this back on, got the air filter back on, ran into another small problem. That spring, the throttle spring, is hitting the air filter box. Not a big deal, and if I lift this up a tiny bit, it won't hit anymore. But I guess I'll be replacing this this air filter for an aftermarket one. But yeah, I guess I'll be doing that. It's not a big deal. But time to put the seat back on, put some oil, and then see if it runs. Okay, so I put the seat back on, put some oil in it, connected this to over there. Now we're gonna put some fuel and see if it starts. So as you guys can see, it started up. Back wheel's not spinning. So yeah, let's see how she runs.